Welcome to the All Rise Podcast, Sunday Scaries. I'm your host, Christine, a civil litigator and personal mentor. Every Sunday, we'll tackle those dreaded Sunday Scaries together to demystify the practice of law and provide you with actionable tips and guidance to face your week ahead. So grab a cup of coffee, take a deep breath, and join me while we turn those Sunday Scaries into stepping stones towards your success. Let's get started. Welcome back to the All Rise Mentors Sunday Scaries Podcast, the place where law students, associates, newly minted attorneys, and even you seasoned attorneys out there find the tools to beat those Sunday Scaries and step into each week with confidence. I'm your host, Christine Barker, and today we're going to talk about one of the most crucial aspects of the practice of law, particularly if you are on the defense side, and that is billing. It is the bane of all of our existence. I get it. It is the bane of all of our existence. We know how daunting it is to track your time, bill your clients, and ensure that your billing entries are consistent and comply with both your firm and your client's guidelines. Whether you are a new associate or a seasoned professional, you are likely faced with the pressures of billing accurately, maximizing your time, and then showing value to your client for each of your entries. Today, I'm going to walk you through my 5 key billing tips to make your life a little bit easier and make your clients a little bit happier. And if this episode leaves you wanting a little bit more, please do stay tuned because we're hosting a 1-hour billing seminar on October 22nd that's designed to take your billing to the next level. So let's dive in. Tip number 1, and I gotta say, this is the one that I personally struggle with the most, but I'm telling you, it will make your life a whole lot easier. It will make your clients happier. It will definitely make your partners happier. And it really is a non-negotiable, especially if you are a new attorney just getting into the billing. If you take nothing away from this episode, let it be this: enter, track, and bill your time every single day. The best practice is to enter your time contemporaneously with the work that you are performing. But at the very least, you need to do it at the end of the day. I guarantee you that come the end of the month, when your partner or your firm is doing their bills and you're over there mad rush trying to enter in all of your time, you will lose time. You are going to forget phone calls, you're going to forget emails, you're going to forget conversations that you had, strategy sessions that you developed. You're going to forget all of it. You are going to underestimate how much time you actually spent on the phone, talking to opposing counsel, meeting and conferring with somebody. You are going to underestimate how much time it actually took you to write that meet and confer letter, how much time you spent on the background section of a motion to compel. You're going to forget. I promise you, you will. This used to be my worst habit, was waiting until the end of the day, the end of the week, the end of the month. And the moment I got really, really diligent about entering and releasing my time every single day, my productivity shot through the roof. I had no problems meeting my hours. And my clients and my partners were so much happier because I wasn't there at the end of the month, losing an entire day entering all of my time for the month. I promise you, it'll take you a half hour, 20 minutes tops at the end of the day to go back through, sweep all of your emails, look at the notes. What I like to do is I put a notepad next to me, next to my computer. I go onto a phone call, I write down the name of the client. I write down, in my own little shorthand script, what I'm talking about on the phone call, and I start a timer. Easy, just get into the habit. Tip number 2, and this kind of goes hand in hand with entering your time contemporaneously, and that is be consistent with your billing. Consistency when it comes to entering time, but then also with the uniformity, the style, the format, and the level of detail, all of that matters to your client. Consistency not only makes it easier for your client to understand your work by giving key details, we'll talk about that in just a little bit, but also it protects you from red flags that inconsistent entries can sometimes raise. If one billing entry is super detailed and the other one's really vague, a client's going to become suspicious, or at the least they're going to become frustrated. What actually did you do here for the 0.7 when it says prepare motion to dismiss? So consistency really is the key. A key tip here is develop your personal style for logging your time entries, whether that is dedicating the last 10 minutes of every day, which I highly recommend doing, to input detailed entries and then using software that allows for real-time tracking. For example, my firm has we use iTimekeep. It has real-time tracking. I can turn on a timer. So if I jump onto a phone, I can open up a new entry, turn on the timer. As soon as I hang up the phone, I turn off the timer. I know exactly how long I was on the phone. So make sure that you're logging your work accurately and consistently. Over time, this discipline will help you improve your accuracy. It will save you hours when you're trying to recall the specifics of a task of a day, even if it's a day later or a week later, or God forbid at the end of the month. So be consistent with your billing entries. I've got to say, those are my top two. If you get anything out of this episode, it's those two: contemporaneous and be consistent. But if you're still listening, tip number 3 is real important too. Tip number 3 is know your billing guidelines. The most important thing you can do to ensure a smooth billing process is to understand the specific guidelines for your client. Each client is different, and billing mistakes will often result in not knowing the exact rules that your client requires. This is particularly true if you work for insurance companies. Most of the major insurance companies will give you their billing guidelines up front. Now, why this is so important? Imagine that you spend hours on a matter, only later to realize that half of your time is non-billable because your client doesn't accept certain types of work to be billed, like, for example, legal research or block billing. That's not only frustrating, but it's a waste of your time. If you were to read the billing guidelines before, you would know that things like legal research, you're not going to be able to bill for. A lot of my clients, especially my insurance clients, don't allow us to bill for legal research. Things like, what's the statute of limitations on a breach of contract? As an attorney, I should know this. I shouldn't have to go look it up. My client doesn't want to pay for me to go look up statute of limitations on a breach of contract. Now, if it's a novel concept and it's something that perhaps maybe there's a newer law about, if I know that in my billing guidelines, I am not to bill for research, but I can ask my client for permission. And best practices, ask for permission, not forgiveness. No one wants to deal with appeals at the end of the month. It stalls your billing, it stalls your collection, it frustrates you, your partner, the process, and it takes up too much time. Knowing your billing guidelines before so that you can avoid the write-offs or the appeals on the back end is going to save you so much time and aggravation. So like I said though, ask for permission, not forgiveness. So if, for example, I've got a novel issue that I want to do legal research on, I'll ask my client, hey, you know what? Can I get permission? Can I get authority for, 2 hours of legal research to research this nuanced area of law? 9 times out of 10, your client is going to appreciate the fact that you've identified a nuanced area of law, that this is going to advance their case, perhaps maybe it's in preparation for dispositive motion, and that you've asked for permission on the front end. So before you start work, make sure you have a clear understanding of your guidelines. And if your client doesn't have any written guidelines, ask them. Ask your client beforehand when they first hire you, or you can pick up the phone and be like, hey, what's the maximum amount of time you like to see billed for a certain task? I know my clients don't like us to bill more than an hour for an answer because by the time I've reviewed the complaint, I know the causes of action. I should know what affirmative defenses I'm going to assert in my answer and general denial. Also, what kind of work isn't reimbursable? For example, legal research, local travel, inter-office communications. Those are some normal ones that most insurance companies won't pay for. And then also minimum billing entries. Most attorneys bill in the 6-minute increments. That's the 0.1 equals 6 minutes, 0.2 equals 12. However, there are some clients that for the first 6 minutes want to break it down to 3 minutes. So I can bill a 0.15. So those are just some questions that you can ask up front if your client doesn't already provide you with the billing guidelines on how they want things billed. By understanding all of this up front, you can avoid write-offs, keep your client happy, and protect your firm's revenue. Tip number 4. Have your billing entries tell a story. Now, I know this might sound a little bit odd, but when it comes to billing, you do need to tell a story. Your entries shouldn't just be a dry reiteration of tasks. Instead, they should clearly explain the value that you're delivering. Think about it. Billing entries are one way that your client truly sees the work that you're doing in kind of real time. You may be giving them reports, but you're not breaking down for them in your report that I worked on the standard of care section of a dispositive motion in order to challenge a cause of action based upon our expert's evaluation of it. So that's something you can put into a billing entry, and it gives them a little flavor of what you've been up to all month. If they don't understand why a task took you 3 hours or why you had to review certain documents, they're more likely to try and challenge your bill or delay payment. For example, instead of writing, say, research, which sounds vague, a little ambiguous, and may be excluded from the billing guidelines, you could be more specific, and you could say something like evaluate state case law regarding employers' liability for workplace injury to ensure compliance and updated standards. That's a good crafted entry, if I do say so myself. But what it does is it tells the client exactly what you were doing, tells them why you were doing it, and it tells them how it's going to advance the case along for them. You should show that you're showing here that the time was necessary and that it's tied to a really important part of the case. You want your entries to paint a picture so that your client understands both what and the why of your work. When they see the value that you've done, it reduces the likelihood that they're going to dispute your bills and increases the chances of timely payment. Again, 2 very important things. Finally, number 5, and this kind of goes with number 4 as well, and that is show value with every time entry. Demonstrating that you are providing value to them through your billing entries, because this isn't just about you spending time on a task or checking a box. It's about showing how that time that you spent and billed to them contributes to solving your client's problem. Each billing entry is an opportunity to showcase your thought process, your legal strategy, the expertise that you're bringing to the table. Just saying draft motion to dismiss doesn't show me why you're any better than somebody else. Why did I hire you to draft the motion to dismiss? Show me the legal analysis. Show me an idea as why I might prevail on that motion to dismiss. If you spend an hour and a half just writing a motion, draft motion, but you really could be giving them a lot more information. So for example, there I would say something like, begin drafting motion to dismiss based upon a statute of limitations defense to reduce the client's exposure and potential damages. That really gives the client a lot more information and makes clear you're not just ticking a box, you've worked strategically and you're adding value at every turn. And this is really, really key to really getting your clients to understand why they need to send you more cases. I mean, we're always marketing. We're always out there wanting to get more work in the door. And if our billing is showing them that I'm adding value to your case, I'm moving your case forward, I'm using my strategy to try and resolve this case for you, it's a win-win for you. Remember, clients are paying for your expertise and for your judgment. It's not just about your time. So every time entry should reflect that you've actively worked to protect their interest, that you're mitigating their risk, and you're trying to create a positive outcome for them. So I know billing is really overwhelming. It's frustrating for all of us. But if you're looking to dive a little bit deeper and really hone in your skills, I have some really exciting news. So we are doing a 1-hour billing seminar on October 22nd. In the seminar, we're going to cover how to navigate complex client guidelines, strategies for increasing your billable hours without sacrificing the quality of work, and then how to avoid some common billing mistakes that can hurt your credibility and your bottom line. This seminar is designed to improve your billing practice immediately, things that you can do right away as soon as you end the seminar. To sign up, all you have to do is follow the link below and secure your spot. So hopefully you guys will join us. I know that billing is one of the most important aspects of any working attorney. I mean, we do the work, we want to get paid for it. And the way we get paid for it is to bill our clients. And the way to ensure that your clients are going to pay for the work that you've done is to let them know you gave them value. That's one of the most important things that you can do for a client. And it doesn't have to be stressful. By knowing your client's guidelines, by telling a story with your entry, by being consistent, and always showing the value that you're bringing to a case, you can improve your billing process and build a better relationship with your client and get some more work in the door. Thank you for joining me today on the All Rise Mentor Sunday Scaries Podcast. If you found these tips helpful, please make sure that you subscribe. Don't forget to sign up for our upcoming billing seminar on October 22nd. Where we are going to tackle billing like a pro. So until next time, stay confident, stay focused, and keep rising. We'll see you again soon.